funny because my internet keeps going off every so and all. Looks so stable at the moment.
Oh dear.
And also PayPal's sandbox, you know, their testing area, that's decided not to work today.
Oh no.
Is that right?
So I've raised tickets with PayPal, but unfortunately, they're not very fast on responding to the sandbox. They're pretty quick on the live system, but on the sandbox, obviously that's not such a big priority for them.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, Basil, I just taught Valerie how to start video meetings on my computer. Since I have the paid account, that allows you to have unlimited or 50 participants and no duration limit. So on August 2nd, when I can't be here for your board meeting, she'll start the video for you. Is that okay?
That's okay. You don't want to just move it, but that's fine. You might as well take the training wheels off for a change, right?
Yeah. And Valerie, you may want to adjust your computer, the picture, so we can see your more than just your eyes. Okay. There we go. Okay. Valerie, oh, that's better, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Did we lose Kim on this or not?
No, I see her.
No,
She's there.
Oh, okay. I see it. I didn't see it until right now.
Yeah. No, there's I don't know who 850-224-0711 is, but
Yeah. Okay.
that's me.
oh,
That's me.
oh, I see. So you don't use the microphone in your computer.
I don't have a microphone on my computer.
Oh, really? And there's none in your camera? I'll send you a link to where you can get this camera that I use. It's
Okay.
wonderful
Okay.
stuff, and microphone and everything built into it.
It's the microphone. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't show you my camera because you can't, it's like you can't look at your own eyes.
We'll get there from here.
Okay, so Steve, let's see. It's way in the middle of the night there. But why don't we let everybody introduce themselves here? Or I guess you probably know Valerie and you know Basil. And Kim is the person who will do the national administration with the system.
Okay.
She and they have a staff there, and for those of you who are seeing a cat's tail,
How's that?
okay. Anyway, for those of you who see a cat's tail with Steve, Steve has a cat sanctuary in his home as well as other things.
Yes, unfortunately they like to be in on the act as well. As you can see, I've got one sitting right in front of me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they like to be in on the act when I'm busy.
Well, why not? Why not? But anyway, why don't we turn it over to you, Steve, and you know how to work this share screen and all that, and it can be your meeting.
Okay. Let's see if I can work this out again. Okay. Are you seeing my screen now?
We
Yes.
are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if we just go straight away then to the members area. As you can see, I've added a couple of extra buttons. There's the donate button and the about button. I thought I'd just put a little bit about because obviously if somebody comes directly here, they might wonder what NaCCRA is all about. So that just does the who we are, where we are, what we do, just so that they get an overview. And it's got a link back to the main site. Within the pages here.
Hold on, somebody's phone is ringing.
Okay.
There, I've muted, I think that was Walt Boyer, so I muted him. Go ahead.
Sorry?
There was a phone ringing, it was Walt Boyer, so I muted him, so you can go ahead now.
Okay. The donate button is, I've kept that nice and simple. If you'd like to support NaCCRA with a donation, you can do so here. Then they just enter a dollar amount, hit the donate button, and it will go off to PayPal for them to make their donation. Now this bit will work, but the only thing is it won't go into the IPN at the moment because, as I say, there's a problem with the PayPal sandbox. But it's nice and simple to make a donation.
Excellent.
It should be connecting. It might be a little bit slow connecting because we've got other things going on here. If we connect with that one, that user ID, so it's just a case then of making their payment.
Well, I hope you're not actually making a payment here.
No. This is on Sandbox. As I say, the only thing on Sandbox, as I say, there is some issues on Sandbox at the moment, and they can view what they're making, donation, etc. And then they just simply pay now, and that's it.
Wow, good.
The job's done. And it should now go straight back to the site with a thank you message. There we go.
All right.
And I will send them an email as well to say thank you.
This is Kim. I have a question. Are we going to be using the PayPal that's already set up, or are we going to start all over?
That's up to you.
Okay.
We can use your existing PayPal account for NaCCRA. That's not a problem.
Okay, perfect.
We actually have a PayPal account for NaCCRA.
We do.
I set one up. Oh.
Yeah, that's no problem. And it's very simple to set up in the system. We just have to enter one parameter, and that's it. That's done. So
we
that's
actually
not
have a PayPal account now that can be plugged in as you've just shown it. I know it would function, but we have one on a live account at this point.
Yeah,
that is correct.
There may be just a couple of little settings in your PayPal account you may need to change, which I can go through with you later when we set it up. But it's just like switching on PDT and switching on IPN, which is just so that it can send the data back to the web pages. But that's a very simple process in PayPal to do.
All right.
Okay, so that's the main changes on the the main members area. As I say, I've added some other things in too. So they can view the state services for the state association. Oops, I need to log in first. Let's log in. As you can see, the security works. So that nobody that shouldn't be can view the data. Okay, we haven't got any message. We don't want to read the messages just now. So if they're attached to a state, they can view the state. So I just added a dummy one in here. The state can add these services themselves, and they can add any number of services they wish, and each one can have a different contact, telephone, and email. And this is completely formatable, just like a normal, web content is. And they can add images, and they can add videos. They can add whatever they want for their services, and the title for the service will come at the top. So this particular user, Tony, is attached to Florida Life Care Residents Association, so he gets to see the services available from Florida Life Care Residents Association. If he wasn't attached to Florida, if he's attached to something else, then he'd see their services. So they only see the services for the associations they're attached to. And also they can do the same with the community services, although I haven't added a dummy one here for that one yet. but he's attached to Bay Village community as well. But they haven't added any services for that particular one, as you can see. So they can view any services that are applicable to them. And I think I showed you these ones last time. There's a members offers area where admin, which will be the lady that we spoke to a minute ago. Sorry, I've forgotten your name now.
Kim.
Kim, is it? Their admin area can add any offers that they've managed to negotiate with, say, Walmart or whoever, like a 10% off for all members with a code or whatever. And they can also, the admin can also add the news, and the latest membership news will appear there. And they can add details to the home page as well. And we'll show you that in the admin area in a minute. So they can edit all this content here directly online, live online. So there's a lot of facilities there now for the members. I think I covered all the other things that last time we were here. The only other thing is in the account page, if they've got a linked family account, as you remember you mentioned if somebody passed away, so if they won't see it in their own account, but if they go to a linked account, so like Lucy is linked to Tony, and they want to view the account details, you'll see now that at the bottom, not only can they edit the other users' details for them, but they have an extra button at the bottom, and I tried to make it sound slightly less than deceased. So this family member has passed away, yes or no, and if they click yes, they will get a confirmation to close the account, and then that will also stop any emails to them for news or anything else, or for reminders or anything, and we'll close the account so that they don't keep.
Okay, I'll send you the literature for the common good.
Anne, are you? Did you want to talk to us, Anne?
No, I'm just listening in.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Okay,
Steve, I think that's wonderful because I've heard from so many people, widows particularly, how distressing it is to get email to the deceased after the person's died. So that's a big help.
Yeah, so that'll close the account off. So then anything that's attached to the account, will cease from happening, so that they won't get pestered. And if they've made a mistake and they didn't mean to click that, and they just click no, and it just leaves it as it is. On the additional options, I've also now added your profession, which you asked about. So they can add the fax number, the interests, and also the profession. And to make it consistent, I've created a list of professions. Now we can add to that if necessary.
Well, we'll have to Americanize those.
Yeah, well, hopefully these are mostly Americanized, but as you can see, there's all the different things, and they're in alphabetical order overhead. There's about 2,000 in there somewhere. So they can pick the nearest profession to what they actually have. I mean, under waiter, you've got dozens of different types of waiters.
Okay, this is their professions. Okay.
That's interesting.
I fill it in instead of having to choose from the drop down?
Well, that's what we don't want them to do, because if they fill it in, we're going to end up with 20,000 different professions, and there's going to be nothing consistent. So, but by having them select one, they've got to select a predefined one, which means we can then, in any reports or analysis, we can group the right professions together. Otherwise, we'll end up with different spellings of the profession. We'll end up with professions. Do you understand what I mean?
I totally understand.
Yeah, I see the difficulty, Steve. I don't think the free form would be that much of a problem, because what we're looking for here is people who might have talents that we could recruit to help us as volunteers in our volunteer thing. So we're not going to be using this to develop statistics. We're going to just be farming it. Somebody like Basil will be looking, he has a need that he has to meet in the association. He's looking for a volunteer who might have the talent to be able to do that. But what do you think, Basil?
Well, I like, first of all, what you did, Steve, but I do think that some of these job positions are not going to be those sorts of professions or those sorts of occupations that we're really having with CCRCs. But my question to you would be, how difficult is it to pare these down? If, for example, we wanted to get rid of the budget accountant or the clerk accountant and tax accountant, things of that nature, and dwell on a higher level. Is that easy to adjust, or is that difficult?
Well, yeah. If you want to give me a list of all the professions that you'd rather have,
I'd like to go down. See, I think public accountant is a good one. I mean, that's one that we would like to have. I don't think and a systems accountant would be a good one, or a systems analyst. So I see about 4 in there, but I think we could probably get rid of maybe 90% of it and still zero in on the professions we're interested in.
Okay, well, I can send you a list of all the ones that are currently in there if you like, and you can then edit that list.
And I would do that. What do you think, Jack? That sounds
I think that's a good idea. I think we're looking for things like people who can write.
Yeah.
People have financial understanding. People who may have experience in this direct industry, that could be useful. People who have legislative experience. So they're very high order. Why don't you send us the list, Steve? We'll play with it. I understand how you put it in code, because I think I played with your code once before, so I know that's an easy change to make. So, and I agree with Kim that if we can get it simple, the drop-down format. The drop-down does encourage people to give us something.
And the only other thing I would suggest is I would put profession/expertise, because you may have someone, well, most everyone is number 1 retired, and they may just put retired there. And number 2, you may have someone who may be a healthcare administrator by trade, but they're have expertise in whatever. So I would put profession/expertise.
Okay, that's not a problem. Yeah.
Skills, knowledge. Does that help?
Sure, something of that nature.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can get you something on that, Steve. But I'm so glad you picked up on it, because you probably got that much, and we need that much, but maybe at a higher level.
Well, he's got a wonderful list here of British occupations. I think you have a UK list here, because there were some, like we don't use the word clerk in quite the same way. I guess you call it clerk, right? So we don't use that word. That word has a different connotation. But anyway, that's very good.
Okay. Well, I'll send you that list anyway, and then we'll change that to profession, expertise, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So so that's the other bit on there.
By the way, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Great ad.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've done all of the information, all the changes there. Then now, if we look at the admin, just log in as an admin. I'll log in as a full admin. It'll take us to the admin area. Okay, so we're logged in as the system admin. Now, depending on which admin level the user has, they won't get all of these options here. For example, a clerk or a view only won't get the add user. They won't get the system setting, and so on. But if we have a look at the add user, as you can see now, when you add a user, this is a user, not a member. This is a user for admin or for state or for community. If you're selecting an admin, you'll then get the different subtypes. It takes a few seconds just to bring it. There we go. So you've got the master, which is the system admin, which will only be 1 or 2 key people. Then you get the standard admin, which won't be able to alter the system settings, etc. Then there's the clerk, who can edit users and so on, and process checks. And then there's view only, which is what it says. They can only view certain areas. So that might be a senior person in the organization who just wants view access so he can have a look around or whatever. So that's on the user side. The main full admin can also change the system settings, as we said before. I've changed the color of the email header as well. And as you can see here, this is where we change the PayPal email account. So the live email account will just be whatever your email account is for NaCCRA. And once you've changed it there, that changes it system-wide. So everything then goes through that email address. And at the moment, we're running on Sandbox. Obviously, you just switch to live when you want to change to live. Okay, so if we go now to some of the other things, the ViewEdit Members, again, that now has the option. I need to move the pictures of you here. Right,
you can just, if you drag the pictures to the bottom, they'll reformat.
Down here?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't see what you've got there. It doesn't show. But
no, because you can only see the screen behind, yeah.
Yeah.
But they've now got I haven't changed that to passed away because obviously this is admin, not the actual family. And again, they now have the option to do the same thing, to change the deceased. Mm-hmm. For some reason, why is that not working? Here we go. You can change it. You get the same messages.
If we get rid of the main admin account, we'd lose control. So we don't want to kill the administrator. Right?
No, this is the administrator. This is John Bull, a member.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we were looking at a specific member here, as you can see. All the members are here.
So you can kill off the members anytime.
I see PayPal are looking at my tickets because one of the PayPal ladies has now logged in to test to see what was wrong with it. So that's good news. So at least they're working on it. So there's all what the user list will show: users in grey and members in white. So you can see everybody on one screen rather than having separate screens. And all active members will show above. Then you'll see users like admins, clerks, and so on, and then inactive users underneath. And obviously, if there's more pages, then there'll be page numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. And then to view edit the member, as we just saw, you just click the view edit button, and that will show you that member. The grey things at the top are mostly system controlled, so shouldn't need to be changed. And the deceased obviously is another option there. So admin can change to deceased as well, and so can community and state admins, but only for people that are members of their community or state, which we'll come to in a minute. So that's let's go back to the admin menu. Okay, so the transaction lists will show all the transactions. That's like check transactions and PayPal transactions. As you can see, when PayPal was working correctly, the IPN was picking up the transactions like a donation, a user's subscription payment, and when they signed up. So everything that happens on a transaction within PayPal will come through onto this screen. So if they cancel, it will come up as a cancellation. If it's refunded by you in PayPal, it will come up as a refund, and so on. So you will be able to see all the transactions that took place in PayPal. Even
cash register listing, register of financial transactions.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Is this a register or listing of all financial transactions that went through the PayPal system?
And also checks that have been processed as well. Okay. So this is the actual transaction.
The register of financial.
The financial stuff in PayPal. I'll show you that in a minute in the what do you call it, in the audit log as well. But this is everything that went through PayPal, even if you did it directly in PayPal. So if you refunded the payment in your PayPal account, and it's one that was processed originally from here, then that will appear in here as a refund. So, because the IPN, which is the instant payment notifier, once a payment has gone through our system here, through the web system, that will have a flag on it in PayPal to say that came through the IPN, through our website. And then every time something happens to that particular account, the subscriber's account, then that will send the information back to our website through the IPN. So we get to know everything that goes on regarding this person's subscriptions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So when they first signed, as you see, when they first signed up, you get two transactions come through. You'll get the one where they actually signed up, so that set up the automatic payments every year, and then the second one, which is when the actual payment was processed. So that first initial process. Yeah. If it failed, you'll get a failed come up in here as well.
The point this is probably for later in the discussion, Steve, but in some of the email traffic, I'm not sure whether you've seen it or not, but our treasurer cautioned that we probably ought to have this looked at from a internal control vantage point, a survey of kind of a system survey that happens with new systems. I didn't know whether you had any thoughts on that, or we can come back to it later, but when we get into the cash register, so to speak, it brought the thought to mind for me. We can hold that for later, but that is one of the things that...
Well, before we do that, I think Mark indicated that he had not had time to look at the initial video.
Right.
So I think that before Mark Murovitz is a CPA, and his initial reaction was security flags went off whenever you're talking about cash.
Yeah.
So and so he was all and he thinks audit right away. You have independent eyes, and we certainly want that. So, but why don't we, before we pursue his offhand reactions without his knowing the substance of what Steve has here, why don't we wait till Mark has viewed the video so that he understands exactly what's there in the system, and so that he can then make a more informed judgment before...
I'm okay with that, Jack. I'm okay with that, but I thought, there are some inherent certifications that I think PayPal carries with it. And so if we run into that, or the mere fact that we've got a PayPal account usually it carries some degree of security with it.
The important thing is here that in our system here, we don't store any personal information about the payment. In other words, we don't store any credit card information or any bank account information, anything. That's all handled by PayPal, which is one of the big advantages of PayPal, because the individual's details are secure. All we have is the amount, the date, and the PayPal transaction.
That's an important reason why we're looking to use PayPal. That's they take a haircut, but that's what we get for the haircut, because we live, unfortunately, in a predatory age.
That's enough for now. I just wanted to raise that issue.
Okay.
It seemed like you're right. The accounting takes place at partners. This is simply the PayPal transactions and any other checks.
Yep. Okay, so if we go back to, you can send, admin can send messages to users, which I think we covered last time as well. You can, so if you've got a message you want to send to a user, you can just enter your message here, which is a full formatted text, and you can then select either to send it to all members or just to a specific member, so that when they log in, they will get a little pop-up to say you've got a message. So, you know, if there's something important you need to get to them, you can do it via the system.
Right.
Most of the time you'll probably do that via emails, but there's just that advantage of having a pop-up to them as well. So if we go back then, so we've covered the transaction list. This is where we add and edit the page content. The add page content is only available to the senior, the system admin, because you have to add a page in the system to be able to add the content to. So it's only edit page content that's available to normal admins. And then, for example, the members' home page, they can go in and they can edit the home page. As you can see, we saw that earlier. And they can edit the information in there, live online, and so your home page is automatically updated within a matter of seconds. And the same thing applies to your members' news page. Again, they can edit that here, and the members' offers. So they can add your offers in there instantly. So that's good. Let's go back to the admin menu. Let's click the button, would be easier, wouldn't it? Okay, so the audit log, as I said before, that will show you everything that's happened, everything anybody, any member or any admin has done. As you can see here, if the IPN, in other words, you know, that little script, as I said, that listens to what PayPal is up to, if that gets a message from PayPal, then that will appear in here and what it did. So the PayPal IPN sent an email to Fred to confirm his donation was received and the email address to which it was sent to. And also it added a transaction record from Fred, transaction ID, an IPN track ID, and the transaction log will show all the details. So you can see exactly what everything's done. Here, if, for example, admin logged in successfully, and the date and time they logged in, Clark, and so on. If they changed something, admin changed the status or added a state association, called test 1, and so on and so forth. So everything that everybody does will be recorded in this log. So if somebody changed somebody's record and they said, well, I didn't do it, or I didn't ask for it to be done, you can see who changed it. Okay, and that will get very long. As you can see, there's an awful lot of information in there. Okay, so the transaction log, the email log will record all emails that the system sent. So here, for example, the IPN log sent that email to Fred to say we received his donation, and you can view the email. Now, this was before I changed the top header color for the emails, and it just says, thank you for your donation, thank you for payment, your payment was successful, your help is much appreciated, regards the team at NaCCRA. Obviously this will be just NaCCRA members on the live system, not development. And every other email that the system sends, so like a new member, thank you for your payment, for your subscription, you can now access the members area, and so on. And if they say they didn't receive that, you've got the option to resend it at the bottom there. Because the picture's in the way again now, but there's the resend button at the bottom there. So every email is recorded, because obviously they won't be recorded on your normal email account.
So Steve, this time I've got a question. So going back to and this ties in, going back to the page where a member either joins or renews their dues, on that page, is there a space for them to put a donation along with their dues?
No, there's not, no.
Need that, because what happens a lot of times is that their dues are $20 and they will send a check for $25, and that extra $5 is a donation, or whatever amount they choose. $5 seems to be the most popular, but sometimes, you know, you get 100, sometimes we get 20, another additional 20. Sometimes, you know, it varies.
Okay. Well, so you're talking about just check payments here, not ones that are automatic, obviously.
Well, if they join or renew online, either with a check or with PayPal, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, no, I think there's a miscommunication here. Right now, we don't have automatic renewal, and so Kim is thinking in a different context. So I think that's something. I'll give that some thought. I'll make a note to give some thought to that. Because Kim, what we're going to do is, unless you take action, you'll automatically be renewed every year.
Okay.
Oh, do you see what I mean, Kim?
Sure.
Okay, so we want to encourage donations. So we could, when we write the thank you, we might, you know, give an opportunity for a donation or something of that sort. But I think that the benefit that we get from automatic renewals, because I see how many people here, they're getting old and they forget, or they get the notice and they set it aside, or they say, oh, my granddaughter does that for me. I mean, there's a lot of confusion. So we get an awful lot of benefit out of the auto.
Okay, so you'll come back to that, because obviously it's very different to do that with the automatic, because they have to go through a different system to the separate donation, because the automatic.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, because PayPal process them through a subscription which is set up in PayPal, whereas the donation would have to go through as a one-off payment.
Yeah. No, I think we can work it out. I think it's more a communication issue than a mechanical issue.
Okay. Okay, so then the next thing is the admins obviously can process the checks, which I think we covered last time. We haven't got any checks waiting payment at the moment. But if there was a check waiting payment, you can then process the check, and that will then automatically change the expiry date for that particular person. I don't think some of these things we don't need to cover, because these are really just main admin, like the managing of the states, managing of the communities. That is just, I think we covered them last time. That's just where you can add any new state associations or the associations that come online later. The database utility is just for the system admins, for them to optimize the tables and make sure that the database is kept in good order, and to back up the database. Go back to the admin menu. The PayPal IPN data is only available to the system admin because that contains an awful lot of data that comes back from PayPal. This is what PayPal sends back to us on a transaction. As you can see, it tells us all about what is processed and everything else. So that's just something that's just for sorting out issues with the IPN. So that's only really an admin thing. And then the reports. I've added some new reports now. We have and I've also tarted up the other ones a little bit so they look a bit prettier. So for example, the active users report. So that shows all the active users, full member, family admin, state admin, and so on.
Very pretty, very nice.
Then we've got the inactive members, and we've only got one of those. So obviously that's a full circle. Back to the reports menu. Then we've got new members. This one you can select the report dates. So when you want to know when people joined. So for example, if you want to know who joined from the 1st of June until today, and then run the report, and then you'll get all the new sign-ups during that period. So it's all the sign-ups from the 1st of June to the 18th of July.
Very nice.
These are all my dummy ones at the moment, of course. So you can see who joined when, and if you want a particular month or a particular week, you can obviously do that as well. You've got the little animated date.
A list and not just the chart, correct?
You want a list as well as the chart, or just the chart?
No, we have to have the list.
Okay.
Because
so
we run all the reports. Yeah, that's how we run all the reports and how I run the newsletter queries, and yeah, I have to have the list.
Okay, that's not a problem. I can add a button here that says show the detail, so that will then list the individuals. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, that as long as I have the list accessible, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I will do that. Okay. So then we have a members by association report, which shows you how many members are in each association, state association and community association, and those that have no link. And we now have also payments due within the next 28 days. We've got just 2 here at the moment. Then overdue payments, ones that are overdue by more than 28 days, I believe, if I remember right. Yeah, more than 28 days. And then a donations report. So that shows all the donations that have been received through the PayPal system. Okay. So that's obviously, if there's any other reports that you want, please let me know and I will get them added. So back to admin. There we go. So that's all that's the main functions now in there. Then if we go to just give an example of a state. I think it is. No.
Hey Steve, can I ask a question?
Yep.
When you run a report, one of those detailed reports, we can export it into Excel. Is that correct?
I can set up reports that will export to a CSV file for you to put into.
Okay. Everything
Excel.
that I have to do at the office has to be CSV or Excel.
Okay. Yeah. Just sorry, I'm trying to get a state. Yeah, I can set up any. If you tell me what sort of things that you're likely to use and what queries you're likely to use. So, for example, you want users between such and such a date and such a date, or you want only users that this or that or whatever. If you can give me a list of the sort of reports that you would currently run, I can then set it up so you just enter the details. You know, I want from this date to that date all users that do this, that, or the other. And then I can get it to export them straight to a CSV file for you that you can just open up in Excel.
Okay, because Mr. Cummings is going to need that too. So, because he sends out e-blasts if I'm not in the office, and he's going to have that as well to run an updated email list report that has to be uploaded to our constant contact, which is either Excel or CSV, either one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if you can just say, give me some details of the types of things that you want, and I can set that up, and then you just select the options and then hit a button, and out comes the CSV file.
Well, you just.
Okay.
What is the CSV file?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What is the CSV file?
Oh, comma
Separated values. You can comma separated values file you can open in Excel and in a text editor, in virtually anything really.
What it does, Basil, is to allow you to share data without being dependent on Microsoft's format.
That's right.
So, but since she mentioned constant contacts, I haven't done any updating at all there. I've relied strictly on the list that you have, Kim. I just do it so we can, we're not dependent on when you're in the office or not. But Ann Walker, Ann Mackay is on the phone, and she's compiling a list of regulators that we might want to add to a separate constant contacts list. So I gather from what you're saying is that if she puts that list together in either Excel or comma separated values format, that would work for you. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And until we get a better, or until this is complete, I was thinking that I would just update the constant contact list once a month.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That, it seems to be working just fine for now.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just trying to remember what user I set up as a state user. I'm just trying to connect to my database to.
Okay.
Let's go. Just look at the database, see what name I used. Sorry about this.
No, I understand what
so many dummy users in there that I keep forgetting who I set up to do what. Just find the database.
There it goes.
And the members, member subs. State. It's just called state. Oh, right. Okay.
Why don't you leave that open? You can go back on your tab.
So just log in then. Okay. State. That must be.
Now the hard part is the password always. I've forgotten more passwords, and the ones I remember are invalid.
Okay, so this is a sample of this as a state area, and also this is virtually identical for the community. And again, depending on the level of access, the number of buttons they will see here will be different. So they can manage their state services, which is what I said to you earlier, where I did the sample one for the breakfast. So they can add a service, they add the service title, and they can switch it off temporarily if they wish, the contact name, telephone number, and email, and then they enter the service details and add the service. And if they want to edit an existing one, test service, there's the one we did earlier. As you can see, there's in the editor here, and they can do all sorts of things in there. They can paste from Word, they can add images, Flash, video, links, and everything else.
Did you license this editor? I love your editor. Did you license that?
It's a free editor, but I've customized it considerably, so it wouldn't work with the standard settings. But it uses one called CK Editor. I don't know whether you've heard of it.
I have now. I'm writing it down. Okay, go ahead.
But I say this, I've customized it considerably. I've added extra functions to it and different fonts and things, and also the way it processes the information, etc. And there's also, I've added an image manager to it as well, so that you can manage the images on the server as well, as you can see.
Very nice.
So that's been quite customized. So anyway, they've got that option. We go back to their menu. Then they've got access to the system reports as well, but the system reports are only for their state in those cases. So the active members, in this particular instance, I'm not sure which state this is attached to, but that will only show them the members attached to their state association. And the same with the ViewEdit member details. They only see the user or the members that are attached to their state association. Then if we go, they can, this one I'm working on at the moment, as I said to you the other day, and they can also send messages to members, but again, only to members that are attached to their state association. So they only get a much shorter list. And they can't send to all members. So that's where we are. As I say, the actual main members area, now I think we can start user testing to make sure that what happens, or what you expect to happen, happens when you register. Let's say the only thing we can't do at the moment is test via PayPal, because because the PayPal sandbox has decided to stop processing. But we can certainly get people to start trying to join and see how easy the process is. What I would suggest is perhaps if I put a PDF document or something together to say this is the process we would like you to do to test. Test, adding yourself, test linking to a family member, and what processes they need to do, or how they need to do that, but not give them too much information, so that they can then report back on anything they found that didn't work as they expected it to. I don't know how you feel on that one.
I think that's good. Why don't you send that to Valerie initially, because Valerie has the most experience with stress testing, and she can go back and forth with you and get that just perfectly, because that was a big part of what she was putting together there initially, with those use cases and all of that. I think what you're talking about is what she was calling use cases. Is that a fair statement, Valerie?
Yeah, I think so. And I'd be excited to do that. So let's go ahead.
Wow, I've never known anybody to be excited about testing somebody else. Anybody to be excited about testing somebody else. I'm glad you're motivated. I'm glad you're motivated. So Steve, is that end of today's demo? Because if it is, stop shares, then we can see each other.
Sorry, something's breaking up somewhere.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my bad connection. But if you stop the share screen, I think if you're done with your demo, why don't you stop the share screen?
Yeah, I think we're done with that, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's down at the bottom, maybe. Just,
I've moved up the top now.
up the top,
Yeah,
okay.
stop.
Just click,
No, there's a stop share. There we go.
there we
There.
go, yeah.
Oh,
So
I can see that.
Now we can see you and any cats that come by. I always,
Yeah, they're all gone to sleep now, I think.
but it looks like you've got a what we would call a fan blowing, but I guess do you call that a ventilator?
Well, I've got a fan and the air conditioning on at the moment because it's in the 40s here at the moment.
The 40s is yeah, 40 degrees Celsius, which is
Cold.
probably 95 to 100 here.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
So, well,
It's very sticky, very humid.
well, yeah, I think it's monsoon season, and
That's right, yeah.
we get monsoons in Arizona. We don't get them here in California. Florida has a different problem. Right now, Florida, there's a large limestone underlayment over submerged water. So they have houses falling into sinkholes these days.
Yeah, I see that on the news, yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, I for one greatly appreciate what you've put together here. I'm eager to let Mark Murovitz, who's the accountant we talked about, he's been very busy this summer because he's teaching an accounting course in a summer session, and it's an intensive course, compressed course into a few weeks. So he has had very little time. He's just been preparing, but I think that'll be a very useful view of this. And I'm also eager to hear from Walt Boyer, who's, I think, on this call, any thoughts that he has.
Yeah, but you got me offline.
Well, I put you off for a while because there was a lot of noise coming through.
Oh, yeah, okay. People were trying to call me on the phone. I'm sorry about that.
But
I must admit, I like very much what I've seen, and I think that testing is an important part of us. I have a philosophy is that I've never seen code that is perfect. So testing is important, I think.
Yeah, we're bound to find a few little bugs here and there, but we can sort them pretty quickly. That's not a big issue.
And I will offer.
I'm pretty certain that there shouldn't be too many, because I'm very, very particular on that sort of issue, and I do extensive testing myself as well. That's why it takes me a little bit longer than some people, because I test for every eventuality.
And I would say that I've known a lot of coders in my life, or whatever, but my belief is that building a system is a matter of genius. You can put together a big team to do it. Valerie's heard this, and this is one of our marital discussions, but I learned that early in my life, and I think you're a genius at this kind of work, and what you put together here is awesome. And it's the kind of, we would be paying an enormous amount to get a firm built system with all the process and overhead that would be built in. So we're very grateful to you for all that you're doing for us.
Well, I appreciate the comments, and I try my hardest, but yeah, there's bound to be, I say, a few little bugs here and there, but we can sort them. Not a problem.
So,
is there any plan, Steve? I ditto what everybody else said. This is impressive to me as well, and I like it from at least two aspects. And one is the use of PayPal. I've had some personal experience with that in another organization here within the last couple of years. And PayPal is a reliable, not free, but not expensive either. It's something you can afford to do it, but it is pretty well secured. So I think the PayPal thing is impressive for me. I'm glad we've got that aspect to plug into. I also think that the the ability to draw the reports, as you've shown that we could draw reports from a particular state organization. I assume we could do it from a community organization, or look at transactions over time. You know, what I'm seeing here is a matrix, and a matrix of it has organizational levels on one side and maybe chronology down the, you know, over a period of time on the other. And I think if we keep it in that frame of mind, this ought to be very useful and able to train, because we'll have a lot of users on this. It has to have a lot of intuitive capability, but from what I can see, it does. And
well, so because all the history is there, I tried to create as much information as we can on each transaction without the user having to do anything.
yeah,
Because that's one of my philosophies, to make it simple for the user, but as complex as necessary for us in the background. And we can, you know, set up any type of report that you want. You know, we can analyze over a period of time. We can analyze. We can even predict based on the history information that we've got as well.
Steve, from what you've seen so far, our primary inputs into this system will come from partners, if I understand right. They're the place that take the membership in, take the dues from PayPal if it's put in an account. The output goes for the accounting system of PayPal and whatever the accounting system for partners. So I think that interface really becomes important for us, and I hope Kim's still on. Are you still out there somewhere, Kim?
I am.
And I hope you'll speak up if some of this, if any of this is something you want to talk about.
I've been asking lots of questions.
Okay, all right. And I hope, are you feeling good about this at this point?
I think there's a few things that need tweaking, but overall, yes.
Okay, good. And that's a commitment I think we have to maintain and nurture as we go forward.
Yeah, so the system is, you know, is flexible. I mean, I can put anything into it that you want into it. It's as simple as that, really. But the best thing I think too is if anybody's got anything that they want to add or to tweak or whatever, I think if they go through Jack initially, and then if Jack can then collate those and then get them to me. I don't know where Jack's gone at the moment. His chair looks empty. But if Jack can then collate them and put his own additions to them, and then I can build those into the system, no problem.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I do too.
Yeah, rather than having emails coming to me from everybody trying to work, you know, that'd be easier if it comes through Jack.
Balvy's brow is just now unfurled.
Steve, I want to ask about your future availability, thinking in terms of the fact that in the future, say a year or two from now, the state might be wanted to use something like this. It would have to be adopted for the state, the way the state's organized. And it might be advantageous to be able to, for the two pieces of software to communicate with each other so that they can keep things accurate, and the state can know how many people are members of NaCCRA and vice versa.
Yep. Well, sorry, are you talking about the state associations or the that will have access anyway? State associations will have access to their own members, but they will also be able to see the total number of members as well.
No, but not everyone in the state that, for example, in my state, not everyone in my state will be a member of NaCCRA. I could get to that point, but I don't think we're going to get there very soon, and if at all. And the state might want to have an independent set of software that just they manage themselves.
I have that down on my list. I don't, to be totally frank with you, I'm not sure I understand what the purpose of the state association access is, but I haven't been privy to all the conversations between Mr. Cumming and Bennett and Amy and Basil. So I just was going to keep my mouth shut until I talked to Bennett and Amy over here in our office.
Yeah.
Because that's typically not done, and frankly could possibly be a problem as far as policy of sharing information.
I understand, and then all of that has to be worked out. I agree.
Right. Like.
Why I'm saying it's going to be done in the future, not today.
Right, right. But Steve has got state access already set up. Mm-hmm. I was going to question that, but you brought it up.
Well, let's talk about that for just a minute, because we do have state memberships in NaCCRA. The states who are, there was only 10, but we do have 10 states who are members. We also have 43 or so communities, and they would, perhaps those communities would have need to access this data bank. I guess maybe I read that into it, but shouldn't have. But when you were talking state or communities, were you talking those states that maintain a membership in NaCCRA? And also the same question for communities, or were you talking about FLICRA? I know that's the question that we have.
State associations are a member of NaCCRA. They are not privy and have no rights to NaCCRA's information. They are their own entities. They have joined as a member.
That's correct. Okay. All right.
So they have no priority, or they should not have access to any of NaCCRA's information, and they don't now. Now, if someone from FLICRA called up and said, hey, can I get a list of NaCCRA members that are in, I'll just use you, Village Green.
Okay.
I have to get approval for that, because they're not, you know, just because the state association is a member doesn't mean that sensitive information is shared across the board.
Oh, okay. That's good.
State association, it's the state entity, not all the people members of that state.
But still, if we want, for example, we're going to be looking at that in the membership committee. If we want to consider a series of rebates made based on the membership size and growth, that information becomes important. If Village on the Green, for example, wanted to earn a rebate, they would have to know what the membership composition was. So, you know, I think maybe we've hit something that would be useful to talk about. At least that's what I thought we were talking about.
When and if that comes to fruition with the rebates and so forth, yes, but there's still parameters that we need to work within.
Still have to be approved. I can understand that, Kim. This is just part of my own education and understanding, because I don't know what goes behind things often.
Yeah, but I feel eventually we're going to have people in each state that are part of our membership organization.
I agree with you all. I think that's right.
And those people need to be able to know who in their state is a member, and I think they're having access to be able to see how many members and who they are from this is worthwhile from that perspective of gaining more members. You know.
But Kim points up that right now that the state or community organizational status doesn't a priori authorize access to that NaCCRA information.
Well, here, I'll give you an example. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you guys are looking to for the future. I'm just trying to, obviously it's my job to protect policy and privacy.
Sure.
We have people complain at times that they were listed on the NaCCRA new members list. They don't want it published that they're a NaCCRA member.
Oh, yeah.
So to
yeah, all right.
So like I said, there's parameters that we need to work within or set if they haven't been set, and you know, all of that discussion is coming, you know, in the future. I just again, I'm not disagreeing with anything. We just need to be careful, and we need to set parameters and work within those.
Well, I'm sure Steve is picking up on things that he might have to consider for people that want to opt out of shared data or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's just something we have to deal with. I don't look. I'm glad we had the discussion, actually.
Let me ask Steve a question. Are we going to have some sort of a notice to say somebody new comes in and they want to join, and so they press on the join button? Will there be a notice that of some sort that tells them about the privacy?
There is. They do accept the privacy terms and conditions before they can click the button to join, and there is a terms and conditions page and a privacy page.
Okay, so we can adjust that page to suit our particular needs.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can reword that. Just let me know how you want to reword it, and I can reword it. It's not a problem.
Okay. But this, of course, is one of those things, as Valerie mentioned earlier, that would go through Jack on its way to you. You would want every state organization giving you a different thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I perhaps have misunderstood then perhaps what Jack was saying, but I was under the impression that the way Jack was saying was that, like a community organization, whilst they will be a member, that they, in some cases, the community actually manages the members of their community that are members of NaCCRA, and they actually pay the fee for them. You know, have I got that wrong?
Well, I think
that is incorrect.
I think Jack said that some communities tabulate all of their residents and send them in and pay their due or collect their dues and pay them in as both members of NaCCRA and of the community. And sometimes well, I don't know.
Yeah, and Kim, there was an issue I brought up earlier that for Steve. Suppose someone is single and they pass away. There's nobody there to say that they passed away. One of the reasons for having community is that the community leader, whoever it is, that has access to this, would have the ability to indicate that that individual had passed away in their
that has been added to the community management.
For that reason alone,
somebody is deceased, they can actually tell us.
And right now what happens in that case, Mr. Boyer, is that someone from the community normally will call and inform us that that person has passed away. They give us a list, you know, if there's been quite a few. Sometimes there aren't any, but there is some sort of communication normally.
Yeah, but we were trying to automate that capability.
Sure.
Okay. I don't where Jack has disappeared to. Oh,
he's gone to a class. He's
I see.
Yeah, so he's gone for a couple of hours now.
Okay, is there anything else we need to discuss?
I just want to thank you, if I can, Steve. I think we're all a lot smarter than we were an hour and a half ago or an hour and 15 minutes ago, and really worthwhile time. And I appreciate staying up into the middle of the night to do this for us. Thank you. Thank you.
That's no problem. Well, so I'm normally up till this late anyway because I tend to work to get busy sort of from lunchtime here till about 1 in the morning because that then ties in with the English 9 till 5 if you like.
Oh, okay, all right.
But yeah, I say, but please, put anything through Jack that you want changed, and anything that you want done, I can accommodate. That's not a problem.
All right.
And if we do need to link to any other systems or whatever, then I haven't got a problem with that. I can organise that and create the necessary links once they're authorised.
Thank you. End of meeting?
All right.
Okay, I think we're still done.
Wait a minute. Kim's got something. Go ahead, Kim.
No. I was just telling Steve thank you as well.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Well.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.